think that might actually be better. All right. So, you want to go ahead and plain sight and start with the disclaimer?
Oh yeah, sure, we can do that. All right, so welcome, of course, to the Hidden Black Law Podcast. The information presented here will only be for educational and informational purposes, also entertainment. If you happen to enjoy what we're discussing, this is not legal advice. If you are in need of a legal counsel, please do so. Be so advised, and just take what we are speaking with the frame of reference that it will help you understand the laws and the legal system. So with that, we're gonna get into our show for today, which oh man, I wanted to drop the Hale versus Hinkle, but I see we ain't got it displayed, but I can go ahead and still read it off if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead and read it off.
All right, give me 1 second for the notes. Here we go. All right, you talking about some text that's hard to read. There we go. Come on. There, all right, I got it. You ready?
Oh, yeah. All right, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Hale versus Hinkle was decided by the United States Supreme Court in 1906. The opinion of the court states, the individual may stand upon his constitutional rights as a citizen. He is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. His power to contract is unlimited. He owes no duty to the state or to his neighbors to divulge his business or to open his doors to an investigation, so far as it may tend to incriminate him. He owes no duty to the state, since he receives nothing therefrom beyond the protection of his life and property. His rights are such as have existed by the law of the land, long antecedent to the organization of the state, and can only be taken from him by due process of law and in accordance with the Constitution. He owes nothing to the public so long as he does not trespass upon their rights. So, as always, we like to open up the cast with that strong legal, strong lawful background there on that matter of Hale versus Hinkle, which basically outlines your rights as a citizen. And even though that word may seem damning, you can just hear that what was articulated there, that you still have a lot of lawful latitude in the courtroom. So your agency is still strong, even if you were to relegate yourself to that role. And so for today, we are literally just going to we're going to go down the list of various what's the word I want to use?
Legalese.
Yeah, we're gonna go through all the legalese. Within we're gonna narrow it down to the state of Maryland today, and we're gonna give you the Maryland State Constitution Bill of Rights, or what's the other name for
it? Constitution of Maryland Declaration of Rights.
There you go, Declaration of Rights. My bad, mixing them up.
First, we are going to do, before we do that, we're actually going to give you a precursor, which is the Constitution of the United States, Constitution for the United States of America. And I always like to highlight Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution for the United States of America, seriously, because it gives out a lot of information that if you did not know what the words meant and what the definitions were, you would not completely understand it. If you've been listening to the cast long enough, you will catch and see where the phrase lies that help you out more so in your understanding, your knowledge of what a legal document means versus what it would mean to the layman. As I said, Constitution for the United States of America, Article 3, Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases. Remember what it said. We always listen to the wording. Understand the wording. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under the Constitution, the laws of the United States, and the treaties made or which shall be made under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors or public ministers or and councils. To all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. Last time we were talking about jurisdiction and what kind of what jurisdiction means, and there are certain types of jurisdiction. It says this is the only time that jurisdiction and this type of jurisdiction is stated in the Constitution for the United States of America. Mind you, this is the only jurisdiction that is stated. To all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. The judicial power shall extend to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. To all controversies to which the United States shall be a party to. Remember, the United States has to be a party. To all controversies between two or more states. Between a state and citizens of other state. Between citizens of different states. Remember wording, citizens of different states. Between states and citizens of a different state. Between citizens of the same state claiming lands under a grant of different states. Between a state or the citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens or subjects.
Oh.
Remember that last word, or subjects.
Mm-hmm. I gotta grab something super quick.
So,
be right back.
If you remember what the words mean, we stated admiralty and maritime jurisdiction are law of the sea, not law of the land. And as he read Hale versus Hinkle, your common law or law of the land rights are always upheld. Where does law of sea come in? It doesn't. The only time law of sea comes in is when it has to deal with these specific things. The admiralty jurisdiction and maritime jurisdiction to controversies to the United States and shall be the party to. So if the United States is not a party to it, that's the main precursor right there. The United States is not a party to it. It has to be a party to it. If the United States is not a party to it, then there is no jurisdiction because they are not a party to it. To controversy between two or more states. Well, that's what the United States is a party to because it's between two or more states and it's called the United States Constitution and the states united. So to controversy between between a state and citizen of another state. Well, I mean, citizens is a subject of a state, or subject of a government. So that's what the United States is party to. Different state, you already know the states. All states are, party to the United States. So it's party to all of them. This document literally says that if the United States is not a party to it or not doesn't have a vested interest in what is going on, then there's no United States. There's nothing they can do. I just wanted to give that precursor because, as we all say, all words matter.
It's highly important. Actually, as we were just going through that, I was feeling really encouraged to go ahead and grab this once again and just read off the definition of citizen so it could be fully understood for all people what they're dealing with in law. So, citizen is a noun. It's a person who, by either birth or naturalization, is a member of a political community, owing allegiance to the community and being entitled to enjoy all of its civil rights and protections, a member of a civil state, entitled to all its privileges. So that would be you opting into the contract to partner with the government. And that would lay you in the line of fire for being under maritime law if you didn't understand the rationale to be able to opt out, if you will. and fully vest yourself in the judicial authority, which would take you outside of the government's authoritative stance. And most people do not know how to separate themselves from it. But now you can see the wording as we've so clearly highlighted it for you.
I made sure to read it nice and slow. Don't think I read that slow all the time. I just did it just for for effect. Don't it wasn't that my level of comprehension. It's just I did it for effect.
No, definitely. Clarity is of the utmost importance. So we want to make sure, like you said, all words matter. So it's okay. We got to marinate on them.
Yeah, let you think. Let you actually take time to hear the word being said, and then understand how, in conjunction with the other words, it applies or does not apply.
So I'm sure.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say that everyone could really put that line of distinction between where Article 3, Section 2 was letting you know the judicial powers effects on the people, and there where it diverges into government authority over citizens and things that belong to them. It's like it's actually kind of biblical. What Jesus say? Leave to Caesar what is Caesar's, give to God what is God's. So be on the law. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I sound like Shannon for a second. Bach right there.
Yeah.
Tell him.
So it's all applies.
Now that you understand, and we have a clear jurisdiction that's been stated by the United States of America, by that the United States of America actually has, we can get into the Constitution of Maryland. The reason we're going to get in Constitution of Maryland specifically, because many constitutions, almost all of them, I should say, have the same wording, because they were written for the same reason. There's no constitution that was written for any other reason. We'll get into another little bit, the other tidbits, but like I said, well, I'll do that later. We'll get into that later. But we're going to go ahead and get to Constitution of Maryland Declaration of Rights, and start off with Article 1. Now that you have a clear understanding of that, we're going to start off with Article 1. Article 1 is probably, I don't know, there's a couple of articles within the Constitution of Maryland Declaration of Rights. When the Declaration of Rights has a couple of them, the way they're stated, that it's like a buffet. You pick like, I really like that one. And it's like, oh no, that one's really good too. Let me get that one. No, let me get that one. And you're like, you know what? Let me just take all these. Let me just get all these, because if you comprehend the words that are being stated and the context in which they're put in, you I guess you would say you feel a certain type of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness being upheld on a daily basis. And then you can get into actually, doing that which you feel on a daily basis. But like I said, Article 1, Maryland Constitution of Maryland Declaration of Rights, Article 1. Article 1 states that all government of rights originates from the people. It is found in compact only, and instituted solely for the good of the whole. And they have, it doesn't say government, because the government was not made yet. And they have, at all times, the inalienable right to alter, reform, or abolish their form of government in such manner as they deem expedient.
Nice. Oh, so I know you already know, so I got to do it once again.
Okay.
I got a magic word for you right there. That word is compact. So people might not have that like fully outlined. Like, you're like, compact. Are you putting things together? Are you shrinking? Nah. So what a compact is actually is an agreement or covenant between two or more parties, especially between governments and states. But as we all know, also between people, especially honestly, really, if you want to be super honest, especially between people and government, should they decide to do so. So like it's all laws contract, and Article 1 outlines that very strongly.
It lets you know from jump, from the very first sentence, this is only a compact. This is only a contract. This is only is a stated agreement. It's not a written agreement because I didn't sign anything. The people did not sign anything, but it's just a unstated unsaid agreement between the two parties. So when you have things in compact only, well, that means if there is no agreement or there is no meeting of the minds, which is valid and is the only way a contract is valid, as they say, if there's no meeting of minds, they have at all times the inalienable right, meaning before a state is ever considered, you have inalienable rights, rights that are God-given. They're not given by man. They're not given by government. They're not given by anybody who decides that you paid to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Inalienable right to alter, reform, or abolish. All words matter. Alter, change it. Reform, still change it. Or abolish, just completely get rid of it. Their form of government, the government that controls them, in such manner as they deem expedient.
And funny you should say that. Like I like the way you slid that in there because honestly, you say government that controls them. When you understand your standing, you understand that people come before governments. So if you really are truly in that frame of mind, you'll understand that the government absolutely cannot control you. Is that not what Article 1 just told you? That you were,
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that you are above the government. That's all.
Yeah, and let's be clear. It also states because you can alter a form, abolish at any point in time as you deem fit. And because understand completely that people is versus singular and plural. People is not just a group at any point in time. If you look it up in the dictionary, they will give you the definition that people is those represented by a government. Well, that still says you. It still says everyone. It still doesn't say if it's a group or if it's one man. It just says those represented by a government. So people are singular. The word people is singular and plural. So if you can do it by yourself or you can do it as a whole entire group. And that is literally why they put things on the ballots when you do it as a group. They put it on a ballot and say, "Hey, this resolution, Proposition 10 or Proposition 2.6 is going on to the ballot also when you're electing your officials, because that is the only way you can actually change the law of a state. It has to be on a ballot because the people have to decide whether it's law or not. There's no such thing as legislative law. No group of people that aren't the state itself, because the state itself is not the government, it's the people. So unless the people decide what the law is, it's not a law, it's just a policy.
Yep. And policy only affects employees.
You can be an employee if you want to. As it says, you have the right to reform or abolish their form of government. So whichever government you decide to be under, this is your choice.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll get to there because it's another one of the articles. But yeah.
Oh, right. You want to do 4?
Sure. So, Article 4, that the people of the state have the sole and exclusive right of regulating the internal government and police thereof as a free, sovereign, and independent state.
So what does everyone want to tell you on a regular basis? Like when you watch, the reason we're doing this is because, everyone goes on YouTube. For almost everybody goes on YouTube. And you see those quote unquote sovereign citizen videos, and you see the and you get to see the comments on the belief. Oh man, they're idiots. They don't know what they're doing and all this other stuff. And they talk about people are not sovereign. That's the most. It is like Hale versus Hinkle. It's the most sad thing on those kind of sites is the people are not sovereign. The people are not sovereign. They keep saying the people are not sovereign. They can't be sovereign. Only governments can be sovereign. That's a contradiction because governments technically can't be sovereign because
Yeah.
to be sovereign it means you are the king. So unless we have dictators in the United States, no state can be a sovereign. So, but that's a whole nother issue we're not going to really get into because that's part of what they tell you. We have no
Stake
holding.
in that.
I'm not beholden to the state and how the government is ran. So whatever they tell you, run with that. Go with that. If you want to go with that, be my guest. Go with whatever the government tells you. Me personally, I rather read and learn. So, but anyway, they are sovereign and independent state. A sovereign independent state. A sovereign is an independent state. If you didn't know that, sovereign means you are governing yourself.
Isn't that like the Pledge of Allegiance, letting us know that we're in the Republican form of government? Yeah, form of government.
It wasn't a Republican, more so just Republic form of government. Well, Republican is a classification of people who are just like Democrats, Republican, same thing, just different names.
Republic, you got that form of government, which allows. Matter of fact, that tells that each individual is their own sovereign authority onto themselves.
That's what a republic is. Yes, everyone is their own sovereign. That's a republic. You are an individual sovereign. That's republic. They don't. I don't think you will ever see that in any kind of government class.
That's why you don't have civics anymore.
Yeah. I can't deny.
It was like, who's teaching?
You want to read? Do you want to go any further in 4?
I think I just wanted to say, let's see, there was something.
Police thereof. That's a good word. And always remember it says that and regulate. It says the sole and exclusive right of regulating the internal government and police thereof.
It's funny because I always like to tie police back into the word policy. So all that policy they throw at you, you can regulate it. You can tell them what it actually is.
Because you are your own sovereign. What the policy is for your government as it states.
You know what? I did want to bring up one thing about this article. Because as you talk about that policy or police thereof, it makes me remember that we have to constantly allow the people to understand and really internalize the idea that the government itself is comprised entirely of public servants. So to further help you understand that the government is not authority over you, it's actually service underneath you, you will be able to more wholesomely, protect your rights.
Yeah. Public servant. Every senator, congressman, president used to be a volunteer duty. It used to be literally volunteer. There was no payment. There was no funding. It was just you saying, you know what, I care enough about me, about my fellow man, to want the best for everyone. That was literally what government was. I care enough about my fellow man to make sure that everyone is taken care of, and this is good, as I said, for the whole.
And it's a funny thing as I think about it, when you say it that way, that basically extends to the idea that the government, or the concept therein, was the original idea of the neighborhood watch. And you've never seen the neighborhood watch try to expend authority over you. It's never happened. All they do is watch the neighborhood.
Yeah, make sure that your property is protected and no one is at their house trying to harm you. That's all they did. Somebody trying to rob your place, hey, go ahead and arrest them. We're going to do what Neighborhood Watch does. Yeah, citizens arrest.
Yep. Just protect all lawful members of the neighborhood
Yes.
from anyone who wants to transgress against it.
Then you don't see no Neighborhood Watch come to your house and talking about how many people are in here. You don't see no Neighborhood Watch talking about what you're doing in this neighborhood.
Yeah. Exerting any kind of authority over the residents, or, well, you can be a resident if you'd like, but the people inhabiting the neighborhood. All right, you want to get...
Like I said, words matter. All words matter. And keep that in your head as you listen to this. All words matter. You want me to go ahead and read Article 5? Or
you got it.
Okay. Remember, this is the Constitution of Maryland Declaration of Rights.
So before you even get into the greater Constitution, these things are established.
These are rights, inalienable rights, not government given. But before government, these rights were already there.
Cannot be taken away.
No, cannot be taken away. Inalienable. You can't even give them away if you wanted to. Article 5. So Article 5 has 3 sections. It has A, B, and C. All of them pertain to the same thing. All of them say the same thing. I am just going to read off Article 5, A, because it is the longer portion of it, and Article B5B and 5C just go in more in depth into explaining what Article 5A meant. Article 5A. The inhabitants of Maryland are entitled to the common law of England and a trial by jury. Just listen to the words. I just want you to understand the words and listen to the words that are being stated. The inhabitants of Maryland are entitled to the common law of England and a trial by jury according to that course of that law. And to the benefit of such of the England statutes as existed on the 4th day of July 1776, and which by other circumstances and have been introduced, used, and practiced by the courts of law or equity. And also all acts assembly in force of 1st day of June 1867, except such as may have been expired or antecedent. Where is it? No, it's the small wording.
Yeah, I got you.
Or may be inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, subject nonetheless to the provisions of the amendment repealed by the legislators of this state, and inhabitants of Maryland are also entitled to all property derived to them from or under the charter granted by His Majesty Charles I. Sellers. I don't even know because it's kind of messed up.
Because it's like Caecilius.
I think it's probably Caecilius Calvert Burton of Baltimore. The way it's written in the Constitution, you really actually can't tell with that because it's like the E and A, I believe, are together.
Yeah, CAECIL.
Okay.
IUS. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have like the original copy, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, you did with like the writing.
Yeah. So, but as you said, only thing you really even need to read about all that, everything just goes in detail and try to, clarify which day and when it was, stated and all that stuff. But the inhabitants of Maryland are entitled to the common law of England and a trial by jury according to that course of that law, and the benefit of such of the English statutes as existed on the 14th day of July 1770, 76.
Yeah. So basically, since America gained independence, you still always were entitled to the common law that protected people of the English mother colony. So all that stuff is still in play, and it literally even went on further to say to you that unless it was since abolished or deemed like that legal maxim, any law that was ever in law and never outlawed is still good law. That was basically what they went on further to say to you.
Yes.
So,
When people try to tell you, like, okay, that's another one. This is the second most common one you see on those videos and what you see on YouTube is no one uses common law anymore. There's no such thing as common law. They say that there's no such thing as common law. These people don't know what they're talking about. There's no such thing as common law.
the Article 5 of the Constitution declaring your rights says you absolutely have the right to it. And you know what's funny? Oh, I meant to bring this up. I love that they did this. The third word of Article 5, 1A, is inhabitants.
All that in the inhabitants. It doesn't say the citizens. It doesn't say it doesn't say
The residents.
the residents. It doesn't say I don't know, because all the words I keep thinking are common words, common law words. It's not. I don't know what government tells you, but
that's that paper legality stuff. We don't play in that.
I don't know that stuff, but I know they say you're a resident or you are a citizen, or they say you are, what's the other one? Alien.
Yeah, that could be one. Naturalized, or whatever classification they would have put onto you.
Yeah, whatever classification they use, it does not matter, because it literally says the inhabitants. Meaning, if a tree is an inhabitant, any fox or anything that is living on the land is an inhabitant. So it says all the inhabitants of Maryland are entitled to the common law of England. So because you can read the language, well, you're entitled to it. Just as a man and woman, you're entitled to the common law of England.
And it's funny because
go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Constitution kind of always keeps the precedent of natural law. If you were a freeborn man or woman in the United States of America, these rights are supreme.
If you're a freeborn man or woman, if not even free, if you're just a man or woman born in Maryland or dwelling in Maryland, because I like to use dwelling.
I like that one.
If you're dwelling or inhabiting Maryland, all these rights are yours. You had these rights before we even said hi. We're Maryland. Just by being on what is considered the territory of Maryland. This is you. Let's go ahead and get into what was it?
Article 19.
Yeah, I don't know if 19 is we can go to really run through 19 because it's not going to take that long.
Yeah, it's a quick one.
You can go ahead.
All right, bet. That every man, for any injury done to him in his person or property, ought to have remedy by the course of the law of the land, i.e. common law, and ought to have justice and right, freely without sale, fully without any denial, and speedily without delay, according to the law of the land.
They threw that in there twice.
Yeah, right.
They threw that in there twice, though, to make sure you understood.
Like common law rules supreme.
It does rule supreme because it's the law of the land. You're on land. Why would anything else rule?
Well, inhabitant. You're on the land.
You're on the land. You're inhabitant. So why would anything else rule?
Yeah, government is subsidiary. It's actually outside and other. So that's like it's alternative. If you should choose to deviate from the path of what's lawfully yours, you're free to do so at your own peril, obviously. I mean, you wouldn't be watching this if you didn't understand that.
I always like to say two things. Like anytime one of the first things in my maturation of law out that was learned and was really sunk in on me is that there are only two forms of law. Everything else is just a subsidiary. There's common law, as we've spoken, as Maryland said. There's common law, and there's admiralty maritime admiralty law. It's called admiralty law, but most of the time they call it admiralty and maritime law. I don't know why, but whatever they want to do on that side, go ahead. That's the only two forms of law. Everything else is just a subsidiary. If you read Black's Law Dictionary or any law dictionary, they tell you statutory law. Now, if you read statutory law, it says that form of law that uses statutes rather than constitutions. Remember, the Constitution just said you only use common law. They said, well, we don't want to use those. We're using statutes rather than constitutions or judicial decisions. Took out judicial. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say all means of applying the actual law. So other than that,
all means of applying common law.
Well, there you go.
There's no common law in it. So when you actually ask them, they say it's under admiralty law. Statutory law is admiralty law, just a form of it.
And admiralty, of course, being synonymous with maritime, it's the law of the sea. Mm-hmm. So commerce opposed law. To the law of land. Yeah,
commerce
exactly.
Law.
Sale
commerce
and property. Law. So I would advocate for you to not recognize yourself as property of the state. I mean, do as you like.
Subject of the state. Yeah. I don't subscribe to that whole being a subject of a government. That doesn't make any sense to me. How you could be a subject of the government that you created. Seeing as how you created I don't know how the king is also, the janitor.
Yeah, that's like abdicating your throne and then deciding to serve your servants. That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. I tell you what to do. Unless you tell me what to do, then I'm just going to go ahead with that one.
It's bad computer programming right there. I'm sorry. That's what all that sounded like to me.
Oh. Yeah, but that's that. Like I said, that's quick and easy. No frills. Just they made sure they told you to you twice. If you didn't get it the first time, they make sure they said it the second time. Yeah, law of the land. What some people will try to say also is law of the land is statutes or the policies of the legislator, which I don't know how that can be law of the land, simply because it's not common law.
Yeah, the Constitution tells you otherwise, like explicitly.
Yeah, it literally said the Constitution, as you read in Article 3, Section 2, it says it's admiralty maritime jurisdiction.
And only that.
Yeah, and only that. So if it's admiralty maritime jurisdiction, it can't really be law of the land simply because that is, as we stated, is law of the sea and commerce. So, but anyway, whatever you want to go with, we're not going to tell you have to, listen to this. I'm not going to tell you have to agree with it. All we're going to say is this is what it is. We're reading it off to you. It's not like we're not writing this. This is not a script. I didn't write this up myself. I'm not Stephen King or anything. I'm just reading you what's already written. It's already been written, so it's not like I made it up.
As Google said last week, I've been holding on to this one. It's not my words. It's not his words. These are their words.
Yeah, that's literally their words. This is the words that they actually put on paper. It's crazy that the government actually put this on paper and you don't go with the words that they put on paper.
You choose to operate otherwise.
But anyway.
Very suspicious. Very suspicious. Mm.
But now we're going to get into my favorite one. My favorite one, I think this is my favorite. I don't know. I can't decide between this one.
We did this all yesterday.
Because they're all so good. You had.
Let me see. Which one did I pick?
You had one. You had. Of course, you had 4, and then you had 5. 5 tasted real good, and then 19 was great. They made sure to say this is all by law of the land. This is the only way you have in a trial. Law of the land. It doesn't matter.
Do you understand law of the land? Wait, let me say it again. Law of the land.
And then, but let's see. Let's say I'm gonna read 24 again and see how I feel about it. Article 24, Constitution of Maryland, Declaration of Rights. Mind you, this is already written. This is always written. You can literally go look this up right now, this very same moment. You can go ask your governor. You can call the courts, and they will tell you the same thing. This is what it says. Actually, well, the courts won't tell you this is what it says. They'll just tell you it's written for you to read. They won't tell you that this is what it says, because that would deny their whole jurisdiction and what they do. So they just tell you it's written for you to read.
They're going to test your comprehension.
Yeah, the clerks are not going to say that. If you get a judge, he will talk about that. He will say, yes, that is what is written. The clerks will not say that, because that does not help their job. They like their job. They want to continue to have their job. And they work a lot of people who are working under Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction. So, but Article 24, that no man ought to be taken or imprisoned or diseased of his freehold liberties or privileges, or outlawed or exiled, or in any manner destroyed or deprived of his life, liberty, or property, but by the judgment of his peers or law of the land.
Hey, yo, you know what? I'm sorry, this just got me though. Because think about this: anytime they say state versus John Doe, whatever your name might happen to be, like they're going to throw you in prison, right? If should they take some sort of victory if they decided you've done something, even if there's no other party involved, and the jury may or may not be there. You've been to traffic court. You ever seen a jury? Never seen a jury in traffic court.
You know what they tried to do to me? Last time I talked about this, I'm not going to lie to you. Practical application. This practical application. So, I wrote up some documents. I tried to have them. So when you go to a court, a lot of times if you use law, use the Constitution in anything of your writings, when they have a court proceeding and you bring up any Constitution, what they'll try to do is not let you present it, or not let you put it into evidence, or not let you put the documents on any kind of record, because that would negate everything they're doing, and then they have to toss out the case, and then they have to dismiss it. So what they'll try to do is pretend like you don't exist. Like literally, I was trying to file documents, and they walked away. The clerk walked away from me while I was trying to file documents, and would not return. She did not return for like maybe 20 minutes. And when she finally returned, I was just like, file on demand. File on demand is a statement that is one of your best friends when you are putting legal documentation into the record or on the record. File on demand does not give them the ability to say no, does not give them the ability to question it, does not give them the ability to do anything but file the document, because it is getting put on the record whether they like it or not, because their job is just to file documents. Like literally their job is to file documents, but they will try to tell you which documents they're allowed to file. That's not true. File on demand mandates that they file the documentation regardless of what their opinions are. It makes them have to do their job. And that's what you always need to remember. Make them do their job. Their job is one thing. Remember, they are public servants. They serve you, not the other way around.
So it's funny. It makes me think about judges. Judges have that one thing they like to they can just do really quick in case the scenario is getting out of their hand. Well, yeah, okay, not that. Or if the situation they feel like you're transgressing the court system, they'll say overruled. File on demand is basically overruled for you to make sure that the procedure goes as it needs to go.
Yes.
So that's making sure. Yeah, basically, it's understanding the full breadth of your power and activating the system's rules for you. Man, but yeah, Article 24, man, I gotta say, like, it's kind of a game breaker. I mean, all of these are. We pretty much jailbroken the whole thing for you. So I don't know. I see what you mean about 24 though, because as I literally laugh as it just breaks down everything that's been established and what people are dealing with right now. It's like the key. It's like the skeleton key.
Well, I don't know, because Article 1 is like that too, because,
Yeah.
without, it says that it can't even happen. You can't even get to 24 without Article 1 saying, nah, this ain't going to happen, no way. So I get to decide. And then, but Article 5 also makes sure if it ever does get that way, you still get to make sure that, it's law of the land. I don't know what you're talking about. If you ain't speaking the law of the land, you ain't speaking my language.
Exactly.
And then 4, I can decide my own language. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know why we even here. Why are we discussing? Do I have a contract with you? No. Okay, then what's the problem? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they always ask you, "Do you understand? Do you understand?" Article 4. I do not understand. They're like literally screwed at that point because to understand means to be in compliance.
Yes, it means you agree. Do you understand? When they ask you, do you understand? They're saying, do you agree? So if they beat you up and you said, oh, do you understand what's happening? You're saying, I agree with this.
I stand under it.
I stand under it. You're beating me up. You know what? Go continue.
Did you suffer at the hands of the officer? That's my favorite. That's my favorite legal word. Legalese, man. That one's the one that like said, "Whoa," because I looked it up in Webster's dictionary, and the legal definition is the very last definition that they give you, and it basically means suffer means to allow. So, did you suffer at the hands of the officer? Yes, I did. I suffered. Well, too bad. No money for you.
You allowed it. You said it was okay. You get things agreeing with something and not knowing what they're saying. It's like going into getting a loan at 30 or like 50% interest, right? They said, here, sign this, and you just signed it. You didn't look at the paperwork. You didn't do anything. You just signed it, and then you came back and was like, why is this so much? I don't understand. Actually, you said you did. I asked you, did you understand before you signed the signature? And he was like, yep, I understand. You told me I was getting a loan for this much. You said, do you understand? You was like, yeah. So I don't know what the problem is. You said you understood. But I didn't understand that's what you meant. You can't have it both ways. You can't say you do and you don't. Which one you got?
Yeah, they be playing with you. And
Actually,
then if you
play with
say
yourself.
both, they were like, well, yeah, you're right.
You play with yourself.
You played yourself. What a way to go out. Don't go outside.
Ain't no such thing as halfway. Scared to look. You shook.
Man, what an arsenal. Halfway. It's funny because 1 in 24 dovetail so well. Like it's like the law sandwich.
I think when you put them all together, it's like, I don't know. It feels like a safety net. Because no matter which way they come at you.
Yeah.
It all.
I see where you're going with that.
It's all a safety net. It doesn't matter which way they come at you. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm thinking too much into this. I don't know. The words are written. Like I said, it's a plain sight. You can Google it.
I love it, man. This information, dude. There's so much liberation in the information.
I'm gonna put it you even clearer. Practical application, right? I'm gonna say this, right? If you go to any person that's been elected for the state of Maryland, 99% of them have not read the Constitution for the state of Maryland. 99% have never read the Constitution for the state of Maryland or the Declaration of Rights. No, they don't. And I, Google and myself, can attest to this because when I confronted a public official on I tried to hand them the Constitution for the state of Maryland, Declaration of Rights. He said he would not take it. And when I asked him, mind you, I got this all on recording too. I literally have it on recording. When I asked him why, he's like, what if I don't agree with it? Because he can't say he was doing anything opposed to law, or he can't say he knew, or he always has, as they always say in movies when it talks to the president, talking to the president, why didn't I know about this? President, plausible deniability. Plausible deniability. Because if you never read it, you don't know anything about it, you can always just say, I did not know.
Mm-hmm.
So when I tried to hand it to him, he didn't even want to take it. He didn't want to read it. He didn't want to touch it. It was like giving onions or holy water to a vampire.
Yeah. What's the giant? You remember that game people play as kids? The floor is lava. The law is lava. I'm not touching that.
It's hot. No, I'm not touching that. Yeah, it was like literally trying to throw holy water on a demon. He was like, no, I don't want that. And
what an analogy.
Remember.
What an analogy.
You remember.
Yeah.
He backed away. He literally was backing away, saying hi and bye, and wouldn't pretty much refused to shake my hand until I was like, hey, sir, I'm just trying to shake your hand. He was like, oh, okay. Shook my hand. But yeah, it was quite a eye-opening experience. Not to just me, but the people who actually worked there. Because when I gave them the document, which was the Constitution, they wanted to see what was going to happen.
Man, I remember those two ladies.
They actually stood there and watched because they didn't know what was going to happen, what he would say. And they were shocked to see that he didn't want to have anything to do with it. So imagine you're a public official, someone that you gave a job, who's literally there because of you, who was a public servant, doesn't want to have anything to do with their job. So then what are they doing? That's the question. What are they doing if they don't want to have anything to do with their job? So if you ever want to test it out, go ahead. You can do it. See how it works out.
It will change your life. It will literally change you. It will change your worldview, is what it will do. We were having that talk last night. Yeah, man. It will change the way you see reality.
Reality is not what you think it is. It's like the Matrix.
Yeah. And it reminds me of that James Baldwin quote, but I guess I'm not going to take away the specificity of the quote and just kind of say like anyone who understands the situation is going to be you're going to actually be living in a bit of a state of anger.
A constant state of anger, yeah, and rage.
Because at what is happening, because you're cognizant of the game. Once you are, you can't really go backwards, but you need to go forth in truth and power, because it'd be weird to learn all this information and go forth in cowardice.
As most people do.
It'd be antithetical.
Actually, most people don't go forward with knowledge. Like I said, your government officials don't even want to see it. Don't even want to see the paperwork.
They really don't.
That's damning to their whole career. And if you, I will put it like this too. I harp on this stuff when I talk to government people. I just say I talk to government people. I'm not going to say who and stuff like that, but and I talk to a lot of them. If anyone has noticed anything about Maryland, a lot of stuff has changed the ways it used to be.
Oh,
recently.
yeah.
And even documentation that's on some of the writing within the MVA has changed recently.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, and it's real funny how they're just applying this new verbiage to things without having any, like we discussed, meeting of the minds with the people inhabiting the state, as they act like an unhinged, it's like a dog off of their leash, really.
I won't even say that, because a lot of stuff has been going back to the other way. The what's it? Rights, police rights.
Mm-hmm.
You have the language within the. Like I said, with the MVA, a lot of stuff has been going back to the original set more so than the opposite way.
Oh,
But,
matter of fact, what was
that's
that Jane
just
you was just telling me about the other day about MVA policy? You
when
said
they
they
had to
had written
change it
something
to.
back in.
They had changed it to, if you had relinquished your citizenship,
That's the
recently
one.
relinquished your citizenship, and you can still get a license even if you relinquish your citizenship, which I thought was contradictory. But I was like, just the fact that they had that on there, because some people do relinquish their citizenship. I'm not saying who, but
It can be done.
some people don't want to be citizens. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like I said, like we always talk about, Google it. It's in plain sight. This is the Declaration of Maryland. We went and made sure we reviewed the document for you, so you can understand that the words are always there for you, whether you agree with them or not. It's not my decision. Whether you like them or not, it's not my decision. These things have already been decided. They're God given. You can't take them away. You can go ahead and try to throw them out the window if you want to. It's your choice. But yeah, that's the law, and I'm going to adhere to the law.
As all men and women should. But yeah, you of course are always obliged to do as you see fit, and
as the Article 1 says, as you see fit. Go ahead as you see fit. Go forward as you see fit.
This is really crazy. This information is just out here to be had. It's like insane to me a little bit.
Well, free range chicken, free range cattle, or livestock, whatever you want to call
it. It's quite the world out here.
All right, well,
yeah,
it's been fun.
That's going to be. Yeah, as always.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, as always, we just this is a labor of love for us. We just want to make sure that the people are able to live their lives to their maximum benefit, and not at the benefit of the state. I mean, yeah, if you so choose.
I'm a Marine. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That sounds like something off of Star Trek. Yeah. Live long and prosper, as they said. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So, peace out. Love y'all.
Love y'all.